Lawmakers are on a collision course for what will be a heated battle over the future of the Supreme Court for generations. The ball currently lies in Mitch McConnell's court. The majority leader has final say over when the Senate will vote on President Trump's eventual Supreme Court nominee. Chuck Schumer and Democrats promise a fight, but their power is limited. Nancy Cortez is on Capitol Hill with more on what we can expect.
Of course, the American people should have a say in the court's direction.
This was what Republicans said in 2016.
There is a long tradition that you don't do this in an election year.
When then-President Obama nominated Merrick Garland to replace the late Justice Scalia, nearly 8 months before the election.
Why would we deny the voters a chance to weigh in on the makeup of the Supreme Court?
Now, with 43 days until this election, their argument has flipped.
The president was elected to do this, and the Senate was elected to confirm this nomination.
Republicans say they gained Senate seats in 2018, which amounts to an endorsement.
Senate majority is performing our constitutional duty and fulfilling the mandate that the voters gave us.
It's not just Republicans who have a different take now. Here's Democratic leader Chuck Schumer in 2016.
If Republicans continue to stand in the way and refuse to do their job, it will only be because they want Donald Trump to pick the next nominee.
Speaking yesterday at Ginsburg's high school in Brooklyn, Schumer argued Republicans should stick to their 2016 position, especially since voting has already begun in some states.
Try and decide this at this last time, at this late moment, is despicable and wrong and against democracy. It's shoving the wishes of the hard right and the Republicans who go along with them down America's throat.
Republicans say there will be a confirmation vote this year.
Let's be very clear. If the shoe were on the other foot and the Democrats had the White House and the Senate, they would right now be trying to confirm another member of the Supreme Court.
This weekend, 2 Republican senators, Maine's Susan Collins and Alaska's Lisa Murkowski, urged their party to wait until after the election. But it would take 4 Republicans to block a vote. And there's little Democrats can do on their own to slow things down, besides applying public pressure.
And to Mitch McConnell, we need to tell him that he is playing with fire.
Nancy Cortez, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
For more, let's bring in Jessica Levinson. She's a Loyola Law School professor. Jessica, welcome. Thank you for being with us. Now, you wrote in a recent NBC News op-ed, the sitting U.S. president, in this case, Donald Trump, should not nominate Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement. Why do you hold that opinion?
Well, I hold that opinion partly because of what we just saw, which is that Republicans said we need to hold this seat open when it was 9 months before the election, when there was a vacancy as a result of Justice Scalia passing away and President Obama nominating Merrick Garland. I hold the position also because, well, we just heard in the package, Election Day is 43 days away. The election actually isn't 43 days away. The election has already started. Some people have already cast their ballots. Some people have already gone to early voting centers, have already gotten their vote by mail ballots. So we're not in an election year. We're in an election. I think that makes it qualitatively different. What hits me, frankly, is the hypocrisy. If a president's term means that you are president for 4 years, but when it comes to nominating Supreme Court justices, you're only president for 3 years, then let's make that the rule. I don't think that's a good rule, but it's certainly the one that Republicans laid down very clearly when they denied Merrick Garland a hearing for 9 months.
Right. So let's dig into that a little bit deeper then. Looking back, just 4 years ago, Mitch McConnell said the Senate would not hold confirmation hearings for anyone President Obama chose to nominate when Justice Scalia passed away. He said then, I guess without any legal basis, that Supreme Court vacancies should not be filled in election years. And we heard other senators there, Marco Rubio, saying, you know what, this has become a custom that we just don't nominate Supreme Court justices in an election year. But yet here we are, 4 years later. How can Republicans now justify pushing through a Supreme Court justice now?
Well, so the argument they're using is that in 2016, we had a divided government. President Obama obviously is a Democrat. The Senate was controlled by Republicans. What they're saying is different here is that the American public has sent a message because both the Oval Office and the Senate are controlled by Republicans. You know, as I wrote, I don't think this is tortured logic. I think this is simply just no logic at all. And if you look at the customs, you know, there's been a lot of talk of, well, we don't historically do this. This situation just does not come up very often, but we certainly have nominated and confirmed Supreme Court justices during election years. Again, to me, what's different, what we have to point to, isn't that there's a Republican in the Oval Office and that Republicans control the Senate. It's that if you really say we want the American public to be able to weigh in on who nominates the next Supreme Court justice, then it seems ever more urgent when we're actually already voting than when an election is about 9 months out.
Right. So let's shift the focus of this discussion a bit to talking about the power of the Supreme Court, because ultimately that's what's at stake here, right? Earlier today on CBS This Morning, University of Baltimore School of Law professor Kim Whaley advocated for seeing more issues resolved by the legislature, more laws coming out of our lawmaking body and not heading to the Supreme Court. Let's listen to what she had to say.
That would be good for the American people, because when the court decides something as a matter of the Constitution, it's essentially like amending the Constitution. And these are 5 people on a 9-justice court that are not elected. And I think that's really important for Americans to remember. It's better to keep things in we the people in the ballot box than send things to the United States Supreme Court.
So, Jessica, what do you make of those comments? Do you believe the Supreme Court has gained almost too much power? And has it also become too politicized? And if it is ultimately so politicized, then shouldn't the Supreme Court then be subject to term limits and elections?
Yeah, a lot of really important questions there. So I would say we tend to think the Supreme Court is too politicized when we don't agree with it. So when we agree with what the Supreme Court's doing, we say, oh, they're doing exactly what they should do under the Constitution. And this argument that basically we shouldn't have judicial review, dates back hundreds of years from when we first said under Marbury versus Madison, maybe the most famous Supreme Court case, that the Supreme Court can review legislative acts. I would say again to people, there is no perfect solution, but we should be circumspect. By definition, when the legislature passes something, that should be in the interest of the majority. That's a majoritarian decision. But when it comes to the judges, the reason that we have that potential, stop of judges saying, no, you can't do that, is because we're supposed to care about individual rights, minority rights, sometimes unpopular rights. So that's the bargain we've made currently. Now, a separate question is, should there be term limits? And I think the answer to that is that makes all the sense in the world to have very long term limits and have a rotating situation where every president gets, let's say, at least 2 nominees, so that you don't have this current game where we're basically looking at who's the youngest possible person we can get on the court. And you have one president having 3 nominees, and you could have another president who serves for 8 years having none. That system doesn't make much sense.
It starts to become a little bit like, presidents are looking to game the system almost when you talk about it that way. All right, so legally speaking, what type of precedent does it set if a new Supreme Court nominee is approved so close to the November election, so close, and actually, as you make the point, as the election is underway?
Well, so legally, and I think it's important for everyone to remember, in 2016 and in 2020, the president has the power to do this. There's no question about it. Legally speaking, he has the power to nominate a new Supreme Court nominee. And legally speaking, the Senate absolutely has the power to confirm. Again, no constitutional or no legal questions about that. The questions really are political. And the questions really are about consistency and trying to create a situation where we have low approval ratings for government and create a situation where we don't have even less trust in our government institutions. But this is absolutely within the power of the president. And as you said in the introductory package, Democrats do not have enough votes to stop this. So what they're doing is just exerting political pressure. But I think there's every chance we see a new Supreme Court justice before Halloween, in fact.
Steamrolled through. All right. Well, Jessica Levinson, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your legal expertise.
Thank you.